have to read out to you the evacuation procedures. In the event of a fire, the alarms will sound continuously. Leave the council chamber through the main doors, turn left, go downstairs, go out by Queen's Road entrance, and assemble outside the NatWest Bank. It'll be continuous sound. The toilets on this floor, to the left of the lift, or on the ground floor, on the left-hand side of the corridor near the contact centre. Okay. Just so everybody's aware, the reason Councillor Chanley, myself, and the Director of Corporate Services are wearing red ribbons is because it is National AIDS Day today, and the decorative lights on the seafront should by now all be red to mark the significance of National AIDS Day. The reason other people are not wearing red ribbons is because we ran out. And Councillor Forward searched the building high and low, but unfortunately we couldn't find any more. But we are doing our bit, I hope, to recognise the significance of AIDS awareness today. Anyway, we have we have one apology for absence.
Yes, Chair. Councillor Locke.
We have declarations of interest from many members. Councillor Hodges.
With regard to the report calculating the agenda on community partnership funding, I am the director of the Leicester Business Group, covering the areas of business and private and council.
I think that's a prejudicial interest.
It is.
So, okay, Councillor Forward.
Prejudicial interest, same item on the agenda. I'm trustee of the Education Futures Trust. Thank you.
Okay, I too have prejudicial interest in asset management and the Leicester Business Group. So I will leave the chamber with Councillor Forward Hodges at that time, and Councillor Chaney will take the chair when we get to the voting on that report, which we'll have to do in parts to make sure we're not voting for money to go to organisations on which we are represented. Okay, you have the minutes of the meeting on the 3rd of November. Are we happy? Really? Okay. So going on to the first substantive item, which is the Rocklands report, and someone was going to introduce it to us.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chair. There's a point to a very long introduction on the subject, as all elected members have received a lot of information on this over the last months. But it's worth saying that the report itself has got a potted version of the history of the issues around Rocklands. But the main point of what I'm going to talk about in a minute is the issues of the concerns that have been found in response, that have been found in terms of the council's treatment of this particular subject area. There's been concern about the site for some time. Following the landslide in 2014, that interest grew, and that grew still further after a refusal by the planning committee of an application to amend the previous approval that was there. Two consultants have been commissioned because of that public concern. The first was Tezel Bakeli, who's an independent planning consultant, and she was asked to respond to a series of concerns that were identified about how permissions to the house to construct the house at the site had been given, how it came to be built outside its consent, and the processes that the council adopted in looking at that. The second, by RH Consultants, and this is no relative of Richard Penwood, on the licensing issues, was to look at how the caravan site itself was run. And it's fair to say that a number of clear areas of concern were identified, and the report does go over those. The first was that internally we hadn't consulted properly between the planning department and other departments of the council, and that was clearly identified as an issue going forward. That there was a lack of consistency between applications and the interpretation of planning policy. That the applications weren't good enough in terms of the standard we expect in terms of the information that was provided, and there were inaccuracies in the drawings. I mean, I think one of those things needs to be raised here, that in particular the difference between the drawing and the actual size of the house, 55 centimetres, was a particular concern going forward. And I think it's fair to say that difference was really drawn to the activities of people in the community, bringing that forward. There wasn't a good enough culture in terms of people responding to complaints and challenge from the public that were identified as a key issue of concern. And in particular, there's an example of that over the conditions that were applied to the site over the removal of trees, where officers were unaware of that condition that had been applied to the site in 1978 and didn't back check that in terms of ascertain that, and therefore gave people the wrong advice in terms of whether there were any restrictions on their site. A second piece of work was commissioned through Pedal Barcade because of the overlap between the planning and the licensing issues. And it's clear that there was a breakdown in communication between the planning service and the licensing service about the site, and that in particular a license was issued that showed caravans being present on the lower slopes where there was in fact absolutely no planning permission for those to be present. And that there was an issue that we had no record of regular inspection on those sites. But I have to stress that the council is not under a legal obligation to carry out that kind of inspection. And so there are more details in the report, but there are some clear recommendations to go forward. One is from the consultant that we need to improve our submission and validation processes, and that's wholly agreed, and staff training will be put into place for that, and we will work with PAS and Planning Advisory Service and others to make sure that system is properly there. That we need to respond better to challenges, and again, we're looking at the staff training issue there in terms of all staff training around customer care and complaint handling in the planning context, because it needs to be done in that specific context. And that work will be undertaken both with advice from PAS, but also in conjunction with our own pod, with our own personnel service here, in terms of presenting that forward. That we will tighten up our procedures for signing off of reports, and use a PAS planning advisory system, advisory service system, for random sampling of those applications to make sure that we get a consistent and high standard around those applications. That we will tighten our internal processes around planning applications, and there will be a council-wide group set up of officers from different departments to look at particularly important applications, chaired by the head of housing and planning, who's the head of service responsible for the service. And the committee reports from major applications going forward will henceforth be signed by our head of service in terms of best quality to senior quality control mechanism applied to that process. That we will ensure that where applications are identical or nearly identical, where they're considered by delegated powers, that where there is a recommendation for approval, a decision to approve, that will be reported to the planning committee that has taken place. That officers managing the caravan sites, either from the planning side or from the licensing side, the files of those are checked, and we will put written instructions on the files of both of those services requiring cross-checking before any decisions are taken, one with the other, to make sure that we get those processes proper in the future, and that with a scheme of inspection, risk-based inspection, will be brought into effect by environment services, not only in this site but for the caravan sites across the borough, to make sure that we move forward. In addition, there are recommendations around a geotechnical survey, which will now take place in terms of the level of the landslide, and STED will meet with the consultants who are doing that work to make sure that their concerns are heard by the consultants. And these actions, these internal actions, will be the subject of an action plan in terms of the improvement of the service, which will be a formal and owned document that will have oversight and leadership not only from the head of service but also political oversight in terms of how that action plan gets delivered going forward. We've had responses from SEG to the environmental report and to the planning report. And whilst the recommendations of the report supported, they called for stronger actions, are detailed in the report around that. And they made their own list around the planning, their own list of 43 recommendations that were attached to the back of it, and those are responded to under Appendix 2. And I wanted just in finishing, Chair, because I don't usually talk so long at cabinet meetings, but I want to talk about what we're now going to do next in terms of the site moving forward. Last week we wrote to the owners of the site or their agents or solicitors and told them that unless we have a planning application for the site with us by the end of this week, that we will seek to take enforcement action which will concentrate on the removal of that, which will seek the removal of the house, because there's been sufficient flexibility, we think, in terms of the time that's been given to bring that forward. We'll also re-examine the TPO in the context of that local situation to see if that protection needs to be extended going forward. That is because although the trees on the site are protected by a planning decision, we need to review that to see in terms of whether that protection is strong enough inside and offers the enforcement that we need for that. The Environmental Services Department will lead the process now of re-looking at the licence for the site, and that they will be assisted by planning colleagues moving forward. And that through that they can also address the remaining questions of layout and also the other vegetation and other issues that go with that. As I said before, we will commission additional survey around the landslide. I have to say that the results of that may be challenging to people because it may in fact show that the costs of addressing the issues are very high and the technical issues are very high, and there may be other legal issues around land ownership and the relationship between the country park and the caravan site which make that complicated. And again, environmental services are committed to investigating the continuing concerns about potential sewage outfall there. Though at the moment we don't have definitive evidence to really understand. So it's our intention to take these processes forward, I think, with your support, Chair, as steadily as possible. We want to maintain the support and participation of our staff with the heavily specialised activities process. And in the report I do detail that the credit for areas and other activities planning services has obtained for its work, and I think that's important. And so really at this stage, Chair, I recommend we finish this report and hope that we can now proceed to take the matters forward to address the issues that we actually face.
Okay, thanks for that. Can I therefore move the recommendation that Mr. Hubb has presented to us, but can I just amend it very marginally to add and to agree the responses in Appendix 2. What that means is the 43 common recommendations or proposals submitted by the St. Nicholas Glen campaign all have a response to them, some of which are that's already covered in the report, or one or two cases that's not allowable under planning legislation, or in some cases we're accepting those points because they are perfectly reasonable. So we accept those. We accept the director's responses to those comments that have been made. So I'll move that. We take it when we get to that. The other thing I'd like to point out is, of course, the role of the cabinet is not the same as the role of the planning committee. It's the planning committee that determines planning applications, and although we're all councillors, there has to be a division, because otherwise the cabinet could agree, let's say, to get rid of a coach park on the Stade and build a massive open space, and they give yourself planning permission, the same people, and that would be a distortion of how legitimate local authority should work. So the executive, which is ourselves, may take a decision, although we're all councillors, other councillors, separate and apart from the Cabinet, will give it or not planning permission. So it's very unwise for the Cabinet to get involved in detailed discussions about planning applications if they're not the local member for that ward. So the local member for the ward where a planning application is going ahead, and their local member responsibilities, give them the opportunity to speak and make their point. It would be particularly unwise for the leadership of the council, myself and Councillor Chowney, to give a view on a planning application, because it could give the impression that somehow, as the majority group, if I'm against it and Councillor Chowney are against it, all Labour councillors are whipped into line and all be against that particular planning application, and that gives a guarantee that if the planning committee came to the same conclusion that we did, that the applicant, who could be aggrieved, would then appeal it and say the planning committee made their minds that when they walked in the room, they're all good. It didn't meet in a legitimate democratic manner. So that's why we have been particularly cautious in getting involved in discussions about the rights and wrongs of individual planning applications to make sure that there's that separation between the executive arm of the council and the regulatory and planning arm of the council. That's very important. So what we're discussing tonight is not a planning application. What we're discussing is how we can agree a set of proposals that can improve the way in which planning is run, but it's up to the planners and the planning committee with these new proposals that are adopted then to determine individual planning applications. I think it's just important that we recognise that legitimate division between how the council works. Now, in terms of the item before us, I think there is no question that the council, in some areas, has been found wanting. We have to accept that. And the campaigners have pressed hard on a number of issues, which shows their commitment to the country park and to all that's best about our town. And so, from that point of view, they've legitimately tackled some of these matters. I think, as the Bocelli report points out, it's in the sort of recommendations that we will be endorsing later, the council was wrong in terms of what it believed, or what it took on trust, really, was the height and the orientation of the building, and the council was not open enough when people challenged that conclusion. When people challenged the council to say, no, it's higher, no, it's not as it says on the plans, the council was not ready enough to listen at the start and to take on board those considerations and to recheck. When the council did, of course, make sure a proper professional check was done by a surveyor, we all could agree. Height, size, space, line up and everything was wrong, and therefore the building that's there is now has no, is unregulated and has no approval. So the council made some errors in that respect, and we have to try and accept some of the responses to make sure we are better at carrying through our planning process. We took on trust and applications where there wasn't sufficient clear-cut information and detailed drawings, and we will make sure we expect a better quality of application from applicants, so we can judge them better, and the public can get a clear-cut view of what the application says. So in a number of areas, the council has not functioned as we would all wanted to do. But what I don't want this to be is a discussion about what happened in 2013, because this is a discussion about how, going forward, we can improve the way we do things and what we're going to do now. Some have outlined 4 or 5 key things the council is now doing, which I think there's general agreement on. Reopening a part into Ecclesbourne Glen, and taking enforcement action if no planning permission is put forward to try and regularise the position of that building. If planning permission comes in, it has to be heard through all the normal channels and determined. Should that planning application not be approved and not be successful on appeal, then of course the council will equally take enforcement action. The question of potentially extending the tree preservation orders on the site is also something the council is looking at doing. A new licence or an amended licence for the site is also on our agenda. So those are the things the council is doing going forward, which I think there is general agreement. Those are the right things to be doing. I think in accepting the report today, and the recommendations we have, the recommendations in Mr. Palmer's report, what we are also accepting is where we were wanting, where the council didn't perform as we were wanting it to perform, we will make sure in the protocols that govern how we do planning, those loopholes are closed so we can make sure that we do better in planning applications in the future. And we will be bringing in the planning advisory service next year, about 6 months' time, so when we've had a chance to make sure all these new suggestions are able to bed down, we'll be bringing the planning advisory service in about 6 months' time to look at how the difference and the improvements that all that may have made. I believe our planning system and our planning procedures in general work well, and that was the conclusion of the planning advisory service when they came to look at us about a year or so ago. We've been found wanting in this regard to Rocklands from a planning and from a licensing point of view. We're going to make sure all that is tightened up, and we're going to adopt these new proposals to make sure in the future difficulties and problems that as an emerged here will not emerge again. So we're looking forward, we're looking at how we can do things better, what actions we can take. We're not looking backwards now because there's nothing to gain from that. We're just looking forwards and how we can improve things and how we can deal with the remaining issues that exist with regards to the Rockland side. So if I can remove that marginally amended recommendation, I can ask Councillor Channing, would you like to second that question?
Yes, happy to second Chairman.
Okay. Right, other people who would like to come into the discussion? Councillor Atkins?
Thanks very much. Firstly, I'd like to thank Simon and all the members of staff and officers. I know I've put so much time and effort into this. It is a big movement issue, and of course I'd like to thank the campaign group members joining in and of course finding things that we do need to improve on. The only issue that we have really is that, I may be wrong, is there a time frame at all for any of these the action plans you've created, and is there going to be a time frame within that? Because it's great to hear that in last week about the application, the planning application that comes in, and the details that you say. Is there an actual time frame for things to move forward, just so that whether it's the thing in Western Leonard about the new plan, about the possible development there, we don't see anything that's happened before, anything this has happened, when did this take place?
Okay. I know it's probably a direct question to you, Simon. Just want to answer the question of the time frames for the different initiatives that you mentioned.
In terms of the planning process related, the actual what happens on the site, we can't make an application come in. That's obviously for the others to do that. But what we will do is that if we haven't received an application by the end of this week, which was the date we gave them on the 5th, for that to come in, then we'll proceed with enforcement action the following week, the first steps of doing that. In terms of the TPO, I would hope that we manage to come to a sensible conclusion about what a new TPO might look like before Christmas, because we'll need, I think, to either amend or reissue something like that going forward before the middle or end of January from memory. In terms of the action plan, which is the key document that will take you through, I think that he said, I think probably I want to see that in place given the Christmas break by the end of January, beginning of February, so there's something there. Because not that the action plan is delivered, but it is assembled and there for people to see. And I can see the head of housing and planning grinning away at that now, January.
The other thing was my guess would be another review on the licence position. Is there a time scale for that?
With regards to the review of the licence conditions, that's already begun. We have written to the owner quite extensively highlighting the issues following the report from RH Environmental. A number of those issues have been accepted by the owner, and some work is in progress to rectify those things. What we need to do now is arrange a site visit to meet with the owners on site, go through that list of recommendations, and agree a timetable with the owner for completing that work, some of which was going to be delayed until the end of the season. That's now almost with us, so we will expect some of that work to be done. We'll agree a timetable at the time of the site visit, work with them to agree that, and then assemble the revised licence conditions, including the work around the planting on the site, which will include the trees and shrubbery on the site. And understand that the licence condition legislation will enable us to cover not just the trees that are covered by TPO, but also the shrubbery and other planting on the site as well. So the new site plan we would expect to include an illustration of where the planting on the site is, so that in future that is controlled by the licence conditions as well. So again, we would expect all that to be in place in the new year in January, and we'll be working then towards issuing the new licence. Okay, sorry Chair, the other thing with the drainage, we've seen the results that were provided to us, and we are keen to investigate that as well. And I've said that we will visit the site ourselves, investigate the sources of pollution that have been identified and assess it further, and if necessary we will arrange to meet the Safe Equitable Group on site to go through, so they can contact exactly what the issues they feel are there.
Okay, thanks for that. Okay, I think Councillor Hodges would next to speak.
Thank you, Chair. I was very pleased to hear a very comprehensive report given by Director of Planning, and I especially welcome his remarks and the additional remarks that make it very, very useful. It's true, this is I'm then surprised that I was having to be with the respect of the line of doctors carrying on like doing these investigations. They go for many years and it just happened. For that information, we have a group dedicated to studying it with all blends. Thank you for pointing out these many shortcomings. They have done a really, really good analytical job. It is not just one issue that requires our attention, it's several. We then found wanting issues of planning, licensing and then consequential enforcement, whilst we continue to other issues connected with the Environmental Services Department. To date, we have reacted to these issues with the publication of a number of reports, and there will be more to come. As the leader pointed out, we have a report being set up to come on board and looking at the effects of the landslip, what caused it, will it happen again, and is it an investment we could afford, want to make, or would Natural England allow us to make in providing that market? These are all things that need to be established. Because as we all know, Natural England sea landslides is a very natural process, and they will not want interference in that process. So that's yet to come, as you say. To date, as I said, we've issued a number of reports, and there are more definitely come. And I also believe that none of these issues would have come to light if, in my own view, planning permission had been refused, so it should have been for But in keeping with everyone's I cannot rewrite history. I can only learn from the states that this is important. I care pretty much about every aspect of the country park, and I know that my colleagues share those big concerns. It's not just me. I know I am the ward councillor, and Councillor Paul is the other ward councillor, and I think that the concern for our country park extends throughout this council and throughout his office of court. The one thing that's determined to see are the root causes that caused the manifestation of so many of the symptoms that have caused genuine distress to so many of our residents that have come to enjoy the beauty of our country park. Together with Councillor Chowney and the Head of Planning, we have started work on a document that we will detail every process that the planning application has followed, every decision that must legitimately be made, and will contain evidence that nothing has been missed, and will provide an auditable trail from application to outcome. It will be similar in concept and identical in purpose to the system of control that all of UK's critical industries employ in providing certainty in any process control system. I am happy that the Cabinet report not only contains recommendations from professional inputs, but also recognises the value of the considerable contribution made by the group, whose one objective is to preserve equitable Glen and its surrounding countryside for the citizens of Hastings and the generations yet to come. It is the right that all of those voices are heard, listened to, and consequently acted upon to deliver the natural justice our citizens are entitled to in respect of one of the finest country parks in these islands. Because this report has recognised that mistakes have been made, it received a first class and very honest resume from our Director of Planning. And with that recognition of the huge amount of investigative work, the invaluable inputs of ordinary citizens, and to me, most importantly, because it represents a starting point in putting right what has been wrong over many years, I will support it. I believe it's a start for the future, and it's a way forward for all of us to take. We can't fix what's gone wrong in the past, we can only put right what we've identified, what you people out there have helped us identify, and we'll make sure that it won't happen again. And I will support it and work to be sure that what it has addressed will never happen this time again. Thank you.
Thanks much indeed. Councillor Paul, can I ask you to come in?
Thank you, Chair. This issue confirms that people really do care about the green space in our town. 37% of the space is green, and we've got 2 country parks. I hope that people stay and listen to the next item, because we've got a paper on the King Valley Countryside Park, which we're hoping will open up access to more people and enable them to spend more time there and appreciate the countryside that's there. I mean, as a council, we're really proud about country parks, painting country parks on green flag year on year for the work that's been done there. So it's important that we do listen to what's happening, accept the recommendations and carry on working to maintain that country park and the awards that we keep on winning. You've probably seen that we've worked hard with the interpretive centre, with the public consultation, and worked really hard to make sure that the appearance particularly fits in with the area and the ecology, so that more people can visit the country park, but it's not intrusive on the country park. I want to echo what Simon has said about access to Ecclesbourne Glen. You've probably already seen the steps that the open work's been done on that. But I do think we need to be realistic about how much can be achieved, that the original route is reopened, but obviously everything will be done, and I'll keep pushing for that, so that people can still access Ecclesbourne Glen across the country park. I'm also pleased to see the future planning applications next to the site, like the country park, can be looked at by the National Ministers Department for their professional opinion. Because the one thing we've learned from Rocklands is that we may rely on external bodies to come up with perhaps things that we may know ourselves, but we don't rely on that, and that they reject once. So again, that we make sure that that gets picked up.
Thanks so much indeed. Councillor Cartwright, you indicated too.
Yes, thank you very much, Chair. I sat for many years on the planning committee, and I certainly appreciate that planning applications can be extremely sensitive matters because they have direct impact on the homes and livelihoods of our residents. And for that reason, the passion over the Rocklands and Ecclesbourne Glen event, if I can call it that, is not something that greatly surprises me. I think it is important to put the event in context. As I said, for many years I was a member of the planning committee, and I know from my time on that committee that in general our planning department and planning officers meet a high professional standard, and indeed the planning advisory service said so a year or so ago. But nonetheless, I will say therefore that the residents and traders of our town have good reason to be grateful for nearly all the work done by our planning department. As lead member of the corporate services, my concern in this event has been to protect staff. I have been concerned about some of the correspondence, and I know that a very unpleasant threat was made to a member of our planning department, and I've asked for a number of measures to be put in place to protect staff in the future. Hastings Borough Council is a transparent organisation, and we always take complaints seriously, and we will continue to do so. And so it was a matter of considerable regret that the early complaints about the seriously, and that is, for me, a particular matter for regret. Also, in my portfolio, there is the implementation of Customer First, which will, in time, improve the customer journey for all of our customers, including those residents who are objecting to planning application. Thank you.
Thanks very much indeed. Councillor Shelley.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I want to kind of pick up or echo, or perhaps enlarge on something that Councillor Hodges was talking about, and that's about making sure there are proper defined processes in place. This might not sound like the most exciting thing, but interestingly, there was an article on the radio over the weekend that I was listening to, which was about the move to introduce process and flow charts for surgeons in the procedures they follow. And interestingly, only about, when a survey was done, only 20% of surgeons thought this was worthwhile. But when they asked patients, I think it was 98% said that they wanted their surgeons to go through a properly defined process and flow chart. In other words, it's reassurance for those receiving the service that things have been done properly. While planning might not be brain surgery, it's still kind of quite a complicated process with lots of different steps to it. And I think if you have a properly defined, as Councillor Hodges was saying, a properly defined process that makes it exactly clear at which points particular tick box exercises are done, which bits are about whether somebody complies with legal regulations, but other bits, of course, are qualitative decisions. And all those can be included in that process, in that defined process, and you can recall that all that's been done properly. The qualitative processes are particularly important, I think, because that really, in the end, is what the planning process is about. And that's why planners have to go to university for 3 years to study this. These are just about ticking boxes. But by having all those processes defined, I mean, that's the way to make sure that the reassurance is there, both for people putting in planning applications, that everything's been done properly, also for anyone commenting on planning applications, but also for the staff themselves, because then they've got a clear record that all those things have been done properly, and they can check back on it themselves before they it gets to the point of issuing the report or making a decision that all those steps have been properly taken. I think it's getting that stuff defined and written down and agreed by all the plans and everybody else that that's the way to do it. He's coming away making sure mistakes aren't made, and that you can really properly document that everything's been done according to each rule and everything's been done at the right step, at the right time, in the right part of the process. It's never going to hit headline. It's never going to be a headline. Hastings Borough Council adopts flowchart for planning process. It's never going to be something that's going to get into the news. But I think it's the most important thing we can do to make sure this is the kind of mistakes that happen here don't happen again. Because it's not about blaming individuals. It's about establishing a process and making sure it's all properly defined in a way that reassures everyone involved in the process that it's been done properly, including our staff, as reassurance to our staff as well.
Okay, thank you very much indeed for that. I hope we agree with all the recommendations that we're agreeing tonight, that not just the council, but all of us who have been concerned with this issue can now go forward on a common position. Because I think we all agree essentially with the five-point plan that Simon came up with in terms of the path, the planning application, the tree preservation orders, the fresh investigation as how it is possible to prevent the landslip, all that. Everybody would agree that's the correct thing to do immediately, and it's being done. And obviously the same, the Export Land Committee agreed the recommendations of the Shelley report, which is what the recommendations which are the essence of Simon Hubbard's report to us today. So I hope we can say what has happened has happened. We all now agree the same way forward and can collaboratively work to make sure that is introduced, both to protect what we all care about and to improve the way in which the council conducts its planning processes so we can avoid difficulties and problems like this in the future. Okay. Are we all in favour of the recommendations? Agreed? Unanimously? Okay. Thank you much indeed for that. Can we now move on to the item that Councillor Poole just mentioned, which is the Coombe Valley Country Park report.
Chair. Moving swiftly across to the other side of the borough, and the Coombe Valley Campsite Park is Councillor Crow's alluded to. Also, the Coombe Valley Campsite Park is a significant area of countryside and quality recreational facilities east of the borough. And for a number of years, Hasting, Borough and East Sussex Councils progressed in management of the Coombe Valley Campsite Park through a management board of elected members. And following the withdrawal earlier this year of local authority funding from the management board, it was initially resolved in February. The local authorities have since then been working with Borough side to develop proposals for an alternative governance structure for the park, and this process has been chaired by Councillor Crowe. The paper before you outlines the proposed governance structure for the park by way of establishing a community interest company in partnership with Borough District Council and East Sussex County Council, and both these authorities have actually approved the proposal for a community interest company. The report outlines the functions of a community interest company and its implications for East Sussex Council. It is felt that the establishment of a CIC or community interest company is the most appropriate legal for future management, and the recommendations proposed the Council agrees the permission of the company, and the groundwork side on taking necessary steps to form the company with their partners.
Okay, thanks for that. Councillor Paul, this is your area. Would you like to speak first?
Thank you, Chair. I'm really pleased to see that we've managed to bring this here today and get this far. It's taken a long time. It's not a straightforward process, and our officers have put in a lot of time and effort making sure that this is the right thing for us. And I think it is. The focus has always been on Hastings Country Park. That's always the country park we think of when they think of Hastings. And there's just this huge amount of land that people don't appreciate or spend time in or use. Without moving to a community interest company, nothing would happen because of the lack of finance. This means that with groundworks we can bring a visitor centre which opens up the area for more people so they can go there, find out where they can walk around and what there is to see. But it will also, in conjunction with groundworks, give them a play area for residents in West Development. I know local councils have campaigned long and hard for because it is a more deprived part of our town, and so by bringing the facility down that end of the town, there should be huge social benefits. The community interest company is going to be a significant change in the way that the country park is run. Because the community interest company will be run by board of directors, so we won't necessarily have the chair, but it's reassuring to see that the report confirms that Borough Council will retain control of its land, and any council generated income will be retained by the council.
Okay. Councillor Paul's moved. Councillor Hodge, you indicate, are you happy to second the recommendation?
Very happy, Chair, to second it, and thank my colleague and that team who will work very good together to lead to this level of fruition. I think it's a wonderful thing. I indeed visited the park almost the day after the council gave up its tip. And when you think what was down there at one time and what's happening to it now, it's a wonderful use of the land. It's been reclaimed, it's served the purpose for many, many years. We now have better ways of recycling and disposing of rubbish, so that's moved on tremendously. If you actually walk around the park, and I recommend it to anybody and everybody, there is some wonderful sights there. I mean, there's the old Persian farmhouse across there in the valley. There's a beautiful lake with wildfowl on it. There's paths through cornfields. There's paths all over the place down there. You know, and don't ever just think it's somebody's raked over the ashes of a tip. It isn't that by a long, long, long way. There's old established lanes and footpaths that go around the old Persian farm. And yeah, it's a wonderful thing. I mean, it's never going to rival for sheer beauty our country park up on the East Hill. I mean, that's got the backdrop of the sea. This one is unfortunately divided from the sea by 2 rows of houses and a railway line. But let not that detract from your pleasure in going and visiting it and looking at it. And I think what's also important is how many towns in this country can boast a country park at either end? Okay, this is a countryside park, but one day it may aspire, if it work, to become a country park. You know, it's just as likely. I mean, when the council took over the country park at Ecclesbourne, Fairlight and Warren Glens, it was a area full up with signage and devastation left by a tenant farmer. And this council worked really, really hard to reclaim it and return it to its natural habitat, its natural ecology, which is what we've got there now. At that end of the town, we've got the finest country park in the islands. And I think at the other end of the town, we've got something, doesn't rival the grandeur, but it's certainly there, as Councillor Paul pointed out, it's not an area of the town that gets the attraction that the other country park gets. But I think it's right, and I think it's also a lot of thought has been given about the governance, and I think the community interest company will be proved to be the most realistic and sustainable model for future governance, and I thoroughly recommend that this cabinet adopt the report.
Okay, thanks for what you did. Are there other speakers on the question? Not actually, I'm too big of that. Sorry,
Thank you. First of all, we really do welcome community interest company and the fact that it's invested not only save us money on save us money to a degree, but open up the area and then they can now and enable more people to come to it, which I live close to Meadows, and to be honest, I don't have to go there. I occasionally want to go there, but I don't. It's not better there as often as I go to the country park. I want to be still. I would. There's one small point, and I don't know who it should be directed to, but given community interest companies can apply for grants, extra funding as part of volunteers, and given the success of our officers in terms of getting grants for the town, is there a way of perhaps with us and more sharing expertise at least with the new community company to enable them to practice the grants?
Mike, I think that's very directed at you. In terms of looking for external grants, will we be supporting Groundworks Trust, or how will it work?
Indeed, so I think Groundwork Trust will have the principal objective of seeking grants. However, we will do so with the support of our officers and with the officers. So it will be an Andy Sussex
The next item is our report on community partnership funding. I think Monica Adams-Acton is going to introduce this one to us.
Thank you, Chair. The report before the Cabinet affirms that in previous years the Council's corporate priorities served as the basis for the thematic areas and the outcomes to be supported by the Council's Community Partnerships Fund over the next 2 years. Council officers had successful discussions with Department of Work and Pensions about match funding for projects that would also meet their priorities, particularly in terms of providing specific advice to unemployed people around universal credit and employability. And subject to formal approval, the DWP is prepared to support a number of projects as set out in Appendix A to the report. For such funding from the DWP beyond 2015-16 would be subject to Treasury decisions and DWP processes later at next financial year. As in the previous CPF 2-year round, a two-stage approach was adopted this time to minimise the amount of time applicants had to spend in providing information at the first stage of the process. That first stage primarily assessed proposals in terms of their eligibility against the CPF priorities. Of the 36 expressions of interest received in the first stage, 18 applicants were invited to develop more detailed applications. And these applications were then assessed against the criteria set out in section 10 of the report. 12 of those applications are now being recommended for funding, and Appendix A to the report sets out the recommended grant applications. Any grant allocations will of course be provisional until conclusion of the Council's budget setting processes in February. It's further recommended that, as in previous years, financial support for the Town Centre Partnership also be allocated from the CPF budget. As ever, the panel's work in assessing the applications and recommendations about grants has been very challenging in light of the community need for such services provided by these organisations and the level of funding available. There are 3 new applicant organisations that are recommended for funding this year because of the close fit between the services they provide and the Council's funding priorities. The remaining 9 applications that are recommended for funding have been funded in previous years. Again, these applications demonstrate a close alignment with the Council's priorities.
Okay, thanks for that. Councillor Forward, this is your area of interest.
Thanks very much, Chair. Well, I'd just like to say that we value our community organisations and all the work that they do to support and help our residents, and that's why we allocate a higher amount of funding to our community partnership funding than any other council locally, and probably in the whole of the South East, to be honest. So it's a recognition of how important the work is that's done. We also recognise, obviously, and it's tested in the report, the negative impacts of the cuts to funding on services that support some of our most vulnerable residents. And we're doing all that we can through this programme and other actions taken by this proactive Labour Council to minimise the impacts of those cuts. The priority outcomes that are listed on page 2 of the report make reference to some of the things that we think are really important for our residents. For example, job creation, the provision of good quality advice in a range of areas, support for victims of domestic violence and bus sleepers. I'm also ensuring that vulnerable and disadvantaged residents can access services, as well as those services that are going to ensure that our residents are able to be part of our new inverted commas, digital world. This money will be well spent and will be improving the lives of our residents. So I have no education recommendations. Brilliant recommendations, Jeff.
Thank you. Councillor, are you seconding?
Yes, indeed. I'm very happy to second. If I could say 1 or 2 words on some of these excellent proposals. First of all, the Crime Reduction Initiative, which supports women, men and children who are assessed as medium or high risk of harm from domestic violence. I have to say, I think this is a very worthwhile initiative. It builds on our white ribbon accreditation, and we are one of only 2 boroughs and districts in East Sussex, the other is Eastbourne, congratulations to them as well, who have achieved white ribbon accreditation. Now, is this work worthwhile? Most definitely. The district commander of Sussex Police told me that one of the results of our funding here and our celebration of White Ribbon Day is that there are many people who are threatened by domestic violence who now feel comfortable coming forward and telling the police about it, or telling the counsellor or maybe social services about it. In other words, harm is being prevented. I also think that this is positive, or rather time to be, I think is very positive, in that I think it can reduce the risk of antisocial behaviour from people who have mental health problems, which include a heightened sense of threat, and thereby an increased risk of overreaction to a threat, whether real or not. So I very much welcome time to be as well. And finally, I would just like to mention Reach to and Digitwise, which will offer residents living in the 4 most deprived areas of Hastings, Wallington Centre, Leonard's Castle and Trestle wards, free training in order to gain skills and confidence in using ICT. I have to say that if you are not able to access the internet and emails, then you're at a disadvantage these days. And the library staff, I believe, are very helpful in helping people to use the computers which are there. which I think is very much to be welcomed. I just think that being isolated is one of the worst things that can happen to you. And so I think that this is a way of tackling isolation. So I would just like to say thank you for everybody who's done work on this, and I very much welcome the report. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for that. Anybody else wishes to speak on this one?
Thank you. Just a couple of really quick points. Firstly, I have to admit, as a new councillor, I didn't get into this. I didn't know, and I think that's one of the points that I wanted to perhaps assess at a later point, that residents don't know we do this, and it seems like this would empower people, and it's both, goal, your side and ours. We want to empower people with jobs and the ability to create businesses, and we don't just collect bins and sweep streets, we do other stuff, and I think that we really need to separate that back, so it's just that. Thank you very much.
Okay. Sorry, I've got to think about how many it is now. Right, we have a recommendation in front of us, which is to allocate the £500,000 for 15 to 17 between the organisations listed below. Can I take a vote on the allocation of resources to all organisations, excluding Town Centre Management, Let's Do Business Group and the Education Futures Trust? See all those in favour of that? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Deed. That is carried. Now, those people who have prejudicial interest because they're connected to those organisations now leave the room. Councillor Channing, would you take the chair to take a vote on the funding or not of those three bodies?
Probably get through. Right, that really just leaves the three remaining grants, which Town Centre Management, Education Futures Trust and Let's Do Business. Can I say all those in favour of those grants? That's unanimous. Thank you very much. I'll get them back now.
I think I am.
Okay, I'm sure the decision that was taken was entirely the appropriate one in that regard. Okay, thank you much indeed for that report. There being no other items on our agenda, can I thank everybody, especially those members of the public and the Youth and Residents Council who come along this evening. And we declare the meeting closed. It's just coming up to 7 o'clock. Thank you, Mr.